right, and red light means go. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me, your host, Mark Eric Sebon, the creator and producer of Anime in the Real World, on the third edition of the Director's Commentary. Um, Before I get started with anything, what you're looking at right now is kind of one of my favorite things in cinema or TV production, and what it's called a cold opening. So a show will just start with the action, go into the opening credits, and then the episode will start. I absolutely love those. Star Trek has some like the best ones, but the actual very very best ones I've ever seen in my life was David X. Cohen and Matt Groening's Futurama. I don't know what it. I know what it was. They were funny. They were well done, and they had a mix between they actually meant something to the episode, and some were just wacky as all get out. So bottom line, I love cold openings. They're exciting. To me, anything that has a cold opening, I'm definitely gonna watch it. So, um, again, thank you so much for joining me. This is the third version of the director's commentary. We are at episode 3. Oh, there it is, right there. Time keeps on ticking, part 2. So this one revolved around the 1960s, right up to 1990. You think I would have watched this before I started doing a director's commentary? Ah ha ha. Okay, so again, as always, everyone who's been emailing me, thank you so much. I really do love hearing from all of you. I really do. So the biggest question I've been getting recently is who inspired me to do documentaries? And of course, I could say teachers and I could say friends, I could say a lot of things, but honestly, and it sounds kind of nasty the way I just put that, but honestly, it's got to be the documentary series The Story of India by Michael Wood. He presented the history of India so well that it inspired me to go, oh wow, about almost 5, 6 years ago, and made me want to start doing documentaries. Obviously, it's been a slow go, but I finally went to college and got my degree and learned how to actually make documentaries. So that was the main thing. Main person was Michael Wood's Story of India. Recommend it. Not an endorsement. Just go see it. PBS and BBC, I think, have it. This this has to be probably my favorite scene in all of anime. You've got a pig dancing the hula. It's just so hilarious. So a little bit about this episode. This is the episode where anything could go wrong actually really did go wrong. When I was recording these 3 episodes, part 1, part 2, and part 3, it was near to the end of my filming schedule. And of course, that's when Japan started locking down everything because of COVID. So, first off, luckily, the hotel I was staying at, Drop in Osaka, thank you to everyone because they allowed me to use what you're seeing right here, the tea room that's on the third floor, to record these 3 episodes and a little bit of the following episode that obviously come up a little later on. But they were so kind, I was able to actually keep going because there was just nowhere. Everything was shut down. Couldn't find any location. Anytime I'm like at a park, okay, perfect. I'm at a park. I can record something. And somebody would say you gotta go. You can't linger. So that was getting annoying. But it was what it was. You keep on moving. So come back to the States, start doing the editing, and I'm having, and you can hear it. I still could not get it correct. I've got 2 mics recording me in that room, and it's still the sound. It sounded hollow. The lighting was off, and trying and editing everything together. This episode was just a no go. It was just a no go. Nothing was working. So it's funny. I had to record part of it. My computer crashed, but I still had the episode, but it wouldn't render, so it couldn't actually be downloaded. So I had to play back what I edited and then have the computer record the editing. So what you're actually watching is a recording of the original edit of the episode. So yeah, a little craziness, but that's that's production. Okay, so these films, this it's so interesting how things change over the generations because these three films nowadays are not risque whatsoever. They're very timid in comparison. Uh, Probably the worst thing is Cleopatra. The colors they chose, like people with green skin. It's like, okay, that's a little off. But when it comes to sexual content, it's so just it's tame. It's tame. But it's funny how these three movies nearly toppled an anime studio that was just so iconic. Again, they didn't go down, but that really roughed them up a bit. But look how many studios we got out of that, and one of them is one of my absolute all-time favorites. I'm not going to say which one yet because I've got some good news. There are going to be a handful, and I haven't really narrowed down how many, but there are going to be some extra episodes once the series is over, which will start. I don't think they're going to go on YouTube. I think they're going to go on Patreon, and they might go on a couple other sites. I have not decided yet, but I am actually going in to film a brand new episode, and there's going to be a special, and there might be two other episodes after that. And I'm mapping it all out. So there's going to be more after this. There's going to be more. So exciting and a lot of work. Yay! I'm happy. I'm actually really, really happy. I was able to get some scripts together that actually seem pretty interesting. So I think they're interesting. We'll see what all of you say in a couple of months. Um, So somebody actually made a comment. They noticed something that I did not intentionally do, but I found they were absolutely right. I'm not gonna. They asked me not to put their name on the recording, so I won't. So you know who you are. Someone mentioned the strange amount of Osaka shots. Okay, there's a good reason for that. Basically, Osaka is my favorite city in the world. So when I went to Japan in 2017 just to go, check it out, loved it. I love the country. Obviously, I love the subcult one of many subcultures in the country. But when I was in Osaka, I don't know. It was just it's an awesome city with super awesome people. So I made the decision when I decided to do this documentary that yes, I was going to film in Tokyo, Fukushima, Hiroshima, Saga, a couple other cities, but the major part of filming was going to be in Osaka because I spent so much time in Osaka in 2017, and I made sure I was going to spend so much time in Osaka in 2019/2020. And what's amazing is how much anime history is actually in Osaka. So it's like, oh, this is perfect. God, I really look like a nerd in that photo. I really do. Wow. Wow. Okay, all of you get a laugh for that one. So that's why there's so many Osaka shots. It's a huge area. Every ward is completely different from the other. So go to Tokyo, go to Osaka as well. Go to Kyoto, go to Osaka as well. You'll trust me, you'll have fun. So I say so a lot. I'm sorry. Wow. Okay, that's not much better. Haha. I want to hear from all of you. This first golden age is when a lot of us watched anime for the first time, be the 60s, 70s, or 80s. And I want to hear from all of you. Please comment below on this director's edition. Please comment below on the actual episode that was up last week. Let me know what was your anime that you remember absolutely watching, having to watch when you were a little kid. Um, During this, as I've said before, like I said in the first episode, I really wasn't an anime fan until 2016 when I watched Madoka Magica. But I grew up as an American. I grew up with anime, and it sounds weird. I know a lot of people are going to be like, what do you mean? You're American and you watch anime?" For for a lot of people who might not know that so much anime is brought over to the United States, so much so that we got it in our Saturday morning cartoons. Back in the day before there was, internet streaming or even major cable, the broadcast TV would have Saturday morning cartoons. They were awesome. They were awesome. And part of that, depending on what channel it was, and I think CBS and NBC in Saturday morning had them, but there would be anime mixed in. So I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball, of course, Sailor Moon, and as I got older, there was Digimon and a couple other ones that were coming over to the United States. So I always knew of anime, but I was never really a huge anime fan. For me, when I was a kid, I just wanted to watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and DuckTales. Those were the best to me. Growing up, getting older, seeing more of the world, seeing more of Japan, and then out of nowhere, someone showing me, "Hey, anime! Look at this. Okay. Oh, wow!" It really broadened my horizons on what types of anime are out there. And honestly, I feel kind of bad that it took so many years for me to get back to anime because from like when I was a little kid, and I'm 36 right now. Okay, so I was a little kid in the late 80s and the early 90s. So there was a major shift, big changes in anime in Japan, obviously, and how anime was presented in the United States during that time. And it all really started with this globalization of anime that during the 60s is when the US actually got the first taste of anime. I mean, Astro Boy, I've had so many people say, "Oh, I remember watching Astro Boy or this show when I was a little kid and I never realized." And that's the thing that really shocked me is how many people said, "Oh, I watched this show, but I never realized this was anime. To me, it was just a cartoon." I was like, I understand that because it didn't dawn on me when I was young that watching, Dragon Ball or when I was a little bit older watching Sailor Moon that this was not something that was produced in say New York or Texas or California or Georgia or wherever all the great animation studios, we're talking about the US animation studios, were. I did not realize that until I was much older. So it's so cool when people say, I never realized this, and how many people are now telling me they're going back and watching all these shows that they watched as a kid, all these animes that they remember, sitting in the living room in front of their old black and white TV and going, this was the greatest time of my life when I was a little kid watching this show or watching that show. I was like, oh, that's really cool. That is really cool. So I want to know from all of you, what was that anime for you? What was that anime that you had to wake up early on Saturday to watch? And apparently, I am just glossing over the whole history of Studio Ghibli. So, also, tell me what your favorite Ghibli movie is as well. Ooh, that's a hard one to pick. That's a hard one to pick. Okay, so we're almost near the end of this episode. I want to thank all of you again for taking the time to listen to me try to put together a coherent conversation by myself. I hope all of you are staying healthy and staying safe, and I will see you again in 2 weeks for the next director's commentary, but stay tuned for next Friday for episode 4. That's going to be the final part of the decades of anime. And then after that, we get into more specific types of things that anime has addressed or has unfortunately gotten involved in. But that's a sneak preview, and I'm not going to say anymore. So all of you have a great, great weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll talk to you next time.